Imagine crossing oceans to surprise the love of your life, only to find them happily planning their wedding, to someone else. What do you do?
I mean, that is a complete nightmare scenario.
Right. Like, do you explode in rage? Do you just walk away?
Yeah.
Or do you sit down and quietly offer to sew their new partner's wedding dress?
Oh, wow. Just the thought of that gives me chills.
It's wild. Welcome, everyone. We have created this deep dive specially for you today for the Simplified Summary YouTube channel. And if you enjoy exploring these really intense psychological stories, please hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and definitely drop a like on the video and leave a comment below. We really want to know what you think about this one because it's heavy.
It really is. Your comments help the channel grow so much. So our mission today is extracting the core narrative and, the profound psychological themes from an absolute classic by the legendary Hindi author Premchand.
Oh, Premchand is just a master at this stuff.
He really is. The story is titled Sohag Ka Shav, which translates to The Corpse of Marriage. And we are pulling this directly from the Mansarovar Part 5 collection.
Right, and it's important to note that this isn't just some standard tale of betrayal. It's a masterclass in human psychology.
Exactly. It looks at the clash between tradition and modern convenience. So let's just set the scene. We start on a moonlit roof in a hilly village in India. Very atmospheric.
Oh, totally. It paints such a picture.
Yeah, and we meet Keshav. He's this ambitious young professor leaving for Europe to further his studies. And he's with Subhadra, his deeply devoted wife.
And they've been married for less than a year at this point, right?
Less than a year, yeah. So it's that intense early phase, and Subhadra is just heartbroken about this impending 3-year separation. But, and this is key, she completely suppresses her tears.
Which tells you a lot about her right out of the gate.
Right. She frames the wait as a tapasya, like a deep penance, She tells herself it's going to yield a greater reward for his career. She's putting him entirely above herself.
Well, and framing it as a tapasya is it's a crucial psychological marker. By treating this waiting period as a spiritual sacrifice, she's essentially elevating him.
Like putting him on a pedestal.
Exactly. Elevating him from a husband to almost a deity. She centers her entire existence on his success.
Which society often praises, right? Like, oh, what a noble, supportive wife.
Right, but psychologically, it creates a highly fragile foundation. I mean, when you erase your own identity to become the scaffolding for someone else's life, you remove the boundaries that actually demand respect.
Wow, that's such a good analogy. Scaffolding. I mean, you see that today, partners who put their entire lives on hold to be the support system for someone's startup or like medical school.
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
But is that kind of blind support a superpower, or does it just set you up to be taken for granted?
Well, I think support is a superpower when it comes from a place of mutual autonomy. But scaffolding is meant to be dismantled and discarded once the building can stand on its own.
Oof. That's harsh, but it's true. And Keshav's reaction during this parting scene really shows how he views her. Subhadra jokingly, like very playfully, warns him not to fall for a foreign girl.
Just a little lighthearted comment.
Right, just a joke. But Keshav overreacts wildly. He immediately threatens to cancel his trip, throw away his life's ambition if she doubts him even for a second.
It's just massive overcompensation.
Yeah. Why escalate it so quickly?
Because it's the response of a man with no secure moral footing.
Yeah.
People with genuine integrity, they don't need to make grand theatrical threats to prove their loyalty. They just remain loyal.
Right, they don't need to put on a show.
Exactly. Keshav relies on these declarations to avoid actual accountability. He can't handle the pressure of that pedestal she put him on, so his fragile ego needs him to play this role of the hyper-devoted intellectual.
And that weak moral compass really gets exposed the second he's tested by distance. Because the conflict arrives pretty fast. Keshav goes abroad, and eventually his letters just completely stop.
Complete radio silence.
Yeah. Pure ghosting. In an era where, a letter was literally your only tether to someone across the ocean.
It's agonizing to even think about.
It is. So driven by love and this gnawing anxiety, Subhadra takes a massive step. A very uncharacteristic step for a traditional woman of her time. She secretly travels to Europe to find him.
Which requires an extraordinary pivot in her character. I mean, she leaves behind that passive role of the waiting wife.
Yeah, she takes active control. And she doesn't just show up and wander around crying. She builds an independent life nearby.
That's the most impressive part to me.
Right. She starts teaching Indian music and Hindi to English ladies. She sews clothes to survive. She becomes entirely self-sufficient. But then comes the debt punch.
Here we go.
She spots Keshav on the street one day. He looks blissfully happy, and he is holding hands with another young Indian woman.
Just the physical shock of that would paralyze most people.
Exactly. Which is why her reaction is so baffling. She
Right.
travels across the world, catches him red-handed, and wait for it, she doesn't confront him in the street.
No screaming, no drama.
Nothing. It takes a terrifying level of self-control. It's like watching a train crash in slow motion, but choosing to take notes instead of screaming. How does someone even do that?
Because the woman who saw her marriage as a tapasya, she dies in that exact moment on the street.
Oh, wow. The corpse of marriage.
Yes. What replaces her is someone entirely analytical. And this is where Premchand shifts the narrative from a soap opera to a really deep psychological thriller.
It really is a thriller.
Right, because by choosing observation over confrontation, she's gathering data. She realizes that confronting him publicly would just let him control the narrative.
Oh, he would definitely play the victim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He'd act shocked, get defensive, and inevitably paint her as this hysterical, irrational wife who stalked him across the globe. By withholding her reaction, she maintains total agency.
That makes so much sense. She flips the power dynamic just by refusing to play her part. And this waiting game leads to this incredibly twisted turn of events.
The irony is just staggering here.
It's mind-blowing. Because she's working as a seamstress, the quote-unquote other woman actually shows up at Subhadra's door to get her wedding clothes stitched.
Of all the seamstresses in Europe.
Right. And this young woman is completely unaware of who Subhadra really is. So you, as the reader, are sitting there with Subhadra listening to these excruciating details.
It's so uncomfortable to read.
It is. The young woman innocently reveals she's marrying Keshav. And worse, she repeats Keshav's lies right to Subhadra's face.
He really did a number on her reputation.
He told the new girl his first wife is uneducated, that the marriage was practically forced on him, and that he plans to just, leave her with basic financial maintenance.
He's totally rewriting their shared history to make himself look like a victim of a backward tradition.
Yeah, but how does a person sit there with a tape measure, designing the wedding dress for the woman marrying their husband while listening to him trash talk her? Like, it's this extreme masochism?
No, I don't think it's masochism at all. It's the literal manifestation of the title, like we said. She isn't the masochist. She's acting as a coroner.
A coroner. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, she's meticulously dissecting the dead body of her relationship to understand exactly what killed it. The romantic illusion is just gone.
She's just collecting the facts now.
Exactly. She's seeing the absolute depths of his self-deception. He needs to dehumanize her to the new girl because it's the only way he can sleep at night while maintaining his self-image as this, progressive intellectual.
That fundamentally changes how you view the sewing room scene. She isn't suffering through the measurements. She's methodically logging the cause of death.
Right, and by quietly taking those measurements, she retains absolute power. Keshav thinks he's the architect of his new life, entirely unaware that the woman he discarded is literally stitching the fabric of his new reality.
Man, the symbolism there is just too good. He uses modern, progressive-sounding language to mask old-fashioned selfishness.
And she lets him weave that web until he's completely trapped in it.
Which brings us to the climax on the actual wedding day. Subhadra attends the wedding.
The strength that must have taken.
Staggering. She watches the new bride wear the clothes she sewed with her own hands. But once the ceremony is over, the facade finally drops.
The moment of truth.
Yeah. She reveals her true identity to the new bride. And again, no screaming. She does it by giving her own jewelry as a wedding gift to the new wife.
It is a devastating, masterful gesture.
Yeah.
It functions as the ultimate psychological weapon because it's an act of supreme grace.
It really is. So Keshav is summoned. He walks in, sees Subhadra, and he's just left pale, speechless, and humiliated.
He's completely cornered.
But instead of apologizing, he tries to intellectualize his way out of it. He starts using these modern philosophical arguments, claiming marriage is just a contract. And, if there's no intellectual compatibility, the contract can be broken for individual happiness.
He retreats to academic jargon because it's literally the only shield he has left against his own immense guilt.
So he's essentially treating his marriage like a software subscription he can just cancel when a new update comes along.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's like, oh, the terms of service changed, the intellectual compatibility feature is no longer supported, so I'm opting out. He's using fancy academic jargon to cover up a total lack of human decency.
The hidden cost of that subscription model approach to human beings is that you never actually build anything structurally sound. He wants the freedom of modernity without any of the responsibility.
Right, the integrity that actual freedom requires.
Exactly, and Subhadra cuts right through his academic defense. She doesn't argue with him emotionally. She dismantles his logic.
Oh, she destroys it. She states that an ideal contract is for life, exposing his modern freedom as just a flimsy shield for cowardice and deceit.
She transforms in that room from a discarded wife into his ultimate moral judge.
By refusing to fight for him and instead just highlighting his hypocrisy with dignity, she strips away his intellectual superiority.
And her restraint is what destroys him. I mean, think about it. If she had screamed and cried, Keshav could have easily dismissed her.
Oh, he would have loved that.
Right. He could have turned to his new bride and said, "See, this is the irrational, uneducated behavior I was talking about." Her anger would have validated his entire narrative.
But her calm, terrifying grace offers him no escape hatch whatsoever, and the immediate fallout is spectacular. Subhadra leaves the scene.
Just walks right out.
Just walks out. Keshav's intellectual high ground collapses, and he is crushed by guilt. The story actually notes that his attraction to the new bride evaporates instantly.
Well, yeah, because the entire new relationship was built on the contrast between his supposedly backward first wife and his modern new life.
So once the illusion of his own superiority is shattered, the appeal vanishes.
Exactly. The new relationship wasn't actually about love. It was an exercise in ego building. With his ego destroyed, the foundation of the new marriage dissolves on day one.
So what does he do? He resorts to playing games again. Desperate, he concocts this lie about being deathly ill.
So manipulative.
Very. He has the new girl nurse him, hoping the news will get back to Subhadra and win her pity. He still thinks he can manipulate her emotions.
He really hasn't learned his lesson yet.
Not at all. But when he finally drops the act and rushes to her apartment, she's already left for India. The apartment is empty.
And she leaves that letter behind.
Yes, a letter that formally releases him from all bonds. And the story ends with Keshav collapsing on the grass, weeping bitterly over the letter.
It's a profoundly tragic image. It really forces us to question the nature of the freedom he claimed to want so badly.
Which is the central ironic question of this whole deep dive, right? He got exactly what he argued for: total freedom from his first wife. So why is he crying on the grass?
It's a great question.
Did he only recognize her worth when he realized he couldn't control her?
Well, I don't think he's weeping for the loss of his freedom. He's weeping because of the unbearable weight of his own reflection. His guilt stems from recognizing Subhadra's immense moral superiority.
He finally sees who she really is.
For the first time, yeah. He sees her not as an extension of his ego, but as a formidable, independent force who saw entirely through him. He realizes he threw away the one person who truly loved him selflessly.
He threw away the real thing because he was too weak to carry the weight of it.
Precisely. And in doing so, the freedom he fought so hard to justify has instantly become his own personal hell. That letter of release isn't a pardon.
It's a mirror.
Yes. It forces him to look at his own cowardice. He realizes that Subhadra didn't just leave him. She outgrew him.
Wow. You know, bringing it back to all of you listening, it is so easy in our own lives to justify selfish actions with logical or modern excuses.
We all do it to some extent.
We do. We construct these elaborate narratives to convince ourselves that we are the good guys, even when we're causing immense pain.
We use terms like outgrowing a relationship or finding ourselves.
Right, when sometimes we are just running away from the hard work of being accountable. Subhadra's journey reminds us that true dignity often lies in walking away with your head held high, rather than fighting for someone who doesn't see your value.
It really forces you to examine your own rationalizations.
Yeah.
When we feel the urge to intellectualize bad behavior, are we actually being progressive? Or are we just acting like Keshav, dressing up our cowardice in academic jargon?
Exactly. Which brings us to a final thought for you to mull over. If Subhadra had screamed, cried, and fought to keep him, Keshav might have felt justified.
He would have labeled her hysterical.
But by giving him exactly what he wanted with absolute chilling grace, she handed him a punishment he could never escape.
It makes you wonder, in our own lives, is the most devastating revenge simply refusing to play the victim?
Refusing to play the victim, that shifts the entire paradigm of what it means to survive a betrayal.
It really does. You grant them their irrelevance.
Keshav is left with total freedom from his past and a lifetime to live with the knowledge of his own profound mediocrity. Who is the actual prisoner now?
Such a powerful question to end on.
It really makes you think. Thank you all for taking this deep dive with us today. Remember to subscribe to the Simplified Summary channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment letting us know what you would have done if you were in Subhadra's shoes. Keep questioning the narratives you tell yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.